Welcome, everybody, to the Thursday edition of the Streakers Island Podcast. It is I, the self-proclaimed sports analyst and the very picky TV producer, as Dan was not happy when I asked him to adjust his camera before we got started. So, of course, we got more for your money. You're seeing a little more sun lately.
Woo!
And we have Chazzy, the backwards hat gangster CEO.
Yeah. It's one of those days. It's one of those days.
We got an action-packed show for you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We have the NHL standing playoff bracket. We're going to break that down a little bit more as there's been some more games happening that has been changing things up. The CFL has named a new commissioner. Now, what the heck should he be doing? We're going to get into that. The UFL has a really cool rule that I think the NFL and potentially the CFL could adapt. OHL Playoffs are underway. So, of course, Bri Pup's joining us today. He's got electricity once again in Peterborough. So, back in. I don't know why. Dan thinks he's a beagle. Blue Jays get a big sweep that Chazzy doesn't think is that big of a deal, and so much more. But before we get into the playoff race, I want to talk about a couple games that was a big impact. And I want to start with the Leafs versus the Panthers. And this was a big game for Toronto. Now, I do want to say before people get too excited, this was Florida without Tkachuk, without Ekblad, and without Barkov. That's a very different team. However, a win is a win, and the Leafs got it done. Stolars, I thought, had an excellent game. I thought all four lines played well, although we didn't see the fourth line much as Kemp got injured in the third period of an upper body injury. Fingers crossed that's not long-term, as that fourth line for Toronto of late has looked really solid. But overall, I was pretty damn happy with the way the Leafs played. Dan, I want to throw this to you here. If this is the team that goes into the playoffs, Kemp's healthy and Patches isn't back and Hakanpää isn't back, are you happy with this lineup?
Yes, I would be happier with Patches and but I'm still happy with this lineup. I really think that now if they got it done with who plays well with who, I've been saying so I don't know how long that McMahon's to play on the second line, and boom, now it's with Mr. Gorgeous Willie and JT of the Six, and he's playing incredible of those two human beings, so that's awesome to watch. That third line with Lawton and Domi and basically whoever's left over. Young's fair. What?
Domi looks fast, eh?
Oh, yeah. Domi looks great the past few games, and I always knew he had it in him. You know, so I give him a lot of credit for that. I think everyone's criticizing Lawton. I think Lawton has made Domi a better player. So if that's the case, that's worth getting to. Youngquo's his skating really good. The points will come. And that fourth line, it just shows how deep this team is. Because regardless if it's Holbergen or Robertson or Kemp, you know, you got Stephen Orent who plays very well in the fourth line, and the other two that join him are all great options. And that defense, wow. Like, you have OEL on your third pairing, you know, you got a pretty good defensive core. And McCabe and Tanev is arguably one of the best set-down pairings of the league. So it's and Brandon Carlo. Again, he's not like making these huge highlight plays, kind of like Lawton. They're not making highlight plays, but those two players make the whole team a lot better. So,
now, mind you, they didn't bring those two guys in to make highlight reel plays. It's not like the Leafs went out and got Rantanen, and then Rantanen isn't scoring, which he is in Dallas, but that's not my point. The point is they brought in a third-line center and a depth defenseman to be a third-line. I mean, mind you, Lawton's playing on the wing, but still third-line guy, and Carlo would add depth to the defense court. Now, my question is here. You say you like this lineup, but you wish Patches and Hakanpää were back.
Yes.
I'll be honest. I don't know if they're healthy game one if I'm putting them in the lineup, depending on how this team's playing.
What?
Because the way this team is playing, and Chazzy, you've talked about this so much. When the lines are working, just leave them alone. These lines are
especially this close.
They're getting scoring from all four lines. They're getting big plays at big moments. The fourth line's doing its job at being physical and chipping in every now and then. I think the third line is the best it's looked all season. And the top six, especially that Nylander line last night, was buzzing.
Oh yeah.
I understand Nylander didn't score, and Tavares is the only one from that line that got a goal, but that line had a lot of chances. So, Chazzy, I want to ask you, I know Dan's answer. Who are you leaning more to? Do you more see what I'm saying? Or do you think you got to get Patches and Hakanpää back in the lineup if they're healthy?
No, I definitely hear what you're saying. Just on that Johnny Tavares, he has the most goals since they said Four Nations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So-
leading the league.
Now, is that McMahon? Has he been on that line with Willian for a while now, or?
Yeah.
Yes, that ever since they moved Bobby McMahon from the third line to the second line,
Bobby.
it's been rolling. And somebody
He's
say, "Oh,
disgusting.
Patches should get the second line." No.
That's
No.
my next question. So if you bring Patches back and you guys are talking second line, like, why would you want to mess that up?
If Patches comes back, he has to be on the third or fourth line.
So who are you putting him on with the third line then?
I'm probably putting him on the third line with Domi and Lawton, and then putting Yarncroke on the fourth with Kemp and Lorentz. And
I
then
agree with that.
Holmberg is the
So
other.
who are you bringing out of the lineup that you like tonight?
Holmberg. And I like what he's doing. I think he's doing what is required. Like he's playing physical. He's making plays with the puck. He's got a bit of offensive flair. He's a guy you can move up and down your lineup. But if you're going to bring in Patches, Holmberg is the choice to come out because he doesn't kill penalties, which Kemp and Lorentz do.
Mm-hmm.
He's not great at face-offs, which David Kemp is, and so is Domi, and so is Lawton. So Holmberg gives you the least amount of flexibility. He can play second power play if you're desperate, but I don't think the Leafs are ever going to be desperate enough that he would be on your second power play. And besides, Patches would be on your second power play. However, I more look at the defensive core, and this is why I don't think Hakanpää makes the defense right now.
Ooh.
He hasn't played in months, and Simone Benoit is playing some of his best hockey he's played all year.
Yes, he
Don't
has.
change it. Okay, if you go in game one, Simone Benoit is a -6 and he looked terrible, then
Like Jake
fine,
Gardner?
pull him out. But if he doesn't, then leave it alone.
So question to you guys, what do you do in net in game one?
Well, that's easy. A Star
Why? Okay, but why do we want this answer now?
Why not?
Why not?
Exactly. Why not?
You're still not ready to answer that question.
Why not, say the fireman? Why not, say the fireman?
Number one, if I am the Leafs GM and coach, why am I letting the team prepare for what goalie's going to start already? Why?
Wait.
Don't tell anyone.
Like,
Okay, if I had to make the decision today, it's Anthony Stolarz.
yeah, 100%.
I feel he has been better in bigger games against better opponents. Now, that doesn't mean, am I confident if Joseph Woll had to go in tomorrow, we'd be fine in the playoffs? Absolutely. Both of these guys have played well this season. I get Dan doesn't like Joseph Woll because he's not as pretty as William Nylander. But I look at Woll, he's had success in the playoffs. I don't care about the wins and losses. Those losses weren't his fault. They weren't on him, right? In the playoffs, when you're paying all this money in forwards and you're losing 2-1, you don't blame your goalie that you were paying a league minimum contract, who's a two-way contract, right? You blame the guys that you're paying the big bucks. So I'm confident with either goalie going into the playoffs that they can at least play good enough. I don't think they're going to steal a series the way we feel Bobrovsky can, because Bobrovsky gets paid $10 million. These guys don't. Right? That's Matthews, Nylander, Marner, and Tavares' job to go steal a series because they're paid the big bucks, right?
Yeah.
But no, if I had to make the decision right now, it would be Stolarz, but I don't have to make the decision right now. I don't have to make it at all. Even though as much as I'm wearing a blue shirt for autism awareness, I'm not with the blue shirts in the Toronto Maple Leafs. And why make the decision now? You don't need to. Go 1-1-1 of these guys, and whoever plays better to close out the year gets game one. Does that mean they're my starter for the whole playoffs? Hell no. Let's say Stolarz starts game one. He gets lit up for 5 goals. I'm putting in Joseph Woll. And I'm going to say that was my plan all along, just to go 1-1-1, because I've been doing it all season. Now, we know what for once you can avoid in Leafland? Drama.
Okay, you lose game 1 3-2, and you put Stolarz and you playing him in game 2?
If he allowed
Depends
3
on
goals on 10 shots, no. If he allowed 3 goals on 30 shots and he didn't have a chance on any of them, then yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't look at a goalie as a win and loss. I look at a goalie as were they the causing factor of the loss. And that's where I feel and again, I think too, it's your big money players you need to look at more. If I lost 3-2 and Matthews, Marner, Nylander, and Tavares maybe got a point between the four of them. They're the ones I'm screaming at after the game, saying you guys are being paid like almost 40% of the team's salary. Wake up, smell the coffee, get it from your Argos mug because they're a real champion, and wake up. That's what I'm doing. And I'm sick and tired of this. We see these third, fourth liners and these goaltenders getting blamed on teams where they're not being paid the big bucks. I've seen people saying, oh, Edmonton would be a cup contender if Stewart Skinner played better. He gets paid $3 million. You paid for a mediocre goalie. You're getting mediocre goaltending.
Good.
No, it's up to McDavid and Draisaitl, Hyman, and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Those are your big four. That's the case in Edmonton. The case in Toronto is your big four: Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Tavares. And you know what? I'm throwing Morgan Riley in there at 7.5. He's your top paid defenseman. Those five have to win it.
Yeah, I agree.
And I would say the same thing for Montreal, who just got a big win against the Panthers, right? That was a big, big win.
Yeah.
And you look at Nick Suzuki, 2 goals in 38 seconds between the third period and overtime.
Wow.
Second fastest goals in NHL history. Only behind soon to be the greatest goal scorer in NHL history, Alexander Ovechkin. Like this Montreal team, I was impressed. I think that was a big statement game for them to show that they're here to play.
Yeah. What about the rookie? Lane.
Oh my God.
Yeah, wow.
I was leaning towards Dustin Wolf being my rookie of the year until these last 2 weeks. Not that Wolf's been bad, but Lane Hutson's just been unbelievable.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
That Montreal Blue Line's got a bright, bright future.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Talking about another side note, Cal McCarr, his brother signed with the Avs this week.
I saw that.
Which is interesting.
Yes. So we'll see what happens.
Anyway, just talking about great blue liners, because Lane has that, he's got that Cal McCarr sort of
Because at the beginning, I've been saying all year, I think that Cool Watson in Philly has the skill to win Rookie of the Year. But after watching that Montreal game, I have to give Rookie of the Year to Hudson, not just because of the points, but Hudson really takes control of the game. And to see a rookie do that, we haven't seen a rookie really do that since PK Subban did the Montreal those playoff games. I think he's different style, PK Subban for sure, but that's the type of caliber defenseman you're getting. You're getting a franchise, not just top one, but a franchise defenseman in Hutton. And I gotta say, I know some people have been down on Nick Suzuki the past little while. Jacob and I have been Barry Colts fans forever. We love Suzuki in Barry Colt land. And to see Suzuki put Montreal on his back, I mean, what a phenomenal captain. Holy cow. Okay, does he have the skill of Austin Matthews? No. But can he put a team on his back and lead them into a win? Yes, we just seen that. And we saw that in a big playoff one Montreal went to during the COVID one. And I think if Montreal squeezes in, we keep saying this, when we were practicing on the island before we went to air, we talked about contenders and pretenders. I was laughing saying Montreal is a pretender, but you got to take that back now. I think if Montreal squeezes in, I think they can legitimately upset a team in the first round and make a one for the cup. I really think they're that good of a team now.
And Dan, when you talk about Nick Suzuki, he does have 79 points in 74 games this year.
Oh, I know. That's what I'm saying. He is so
this year.
He's so underrated. People don't.
Just let me finish.
Yeah.
I think he's proving he has the potential to be an Austin Matthews level.
That's what I'm saying.
He is proving he can. And I mean, mind you, he's playing with Cole Caulfield as well, who's also stepped up his game to a whole nother level. But Nick Suzuki's really showing why he's the captain of this team. He's making big plays at big moments. And I want to quickly swing back to Lane Hutson. And something I'm so impressed with this kid. He's very small. And I honestly thought at his stature in the NHL, he would be a power play specialist and that'd be it. Well, shake my hand and call me Ruben, because he is definitely more than just a power play specialist.
Who, Ruben Stutter?
Sure. What he has been able to do, he is so smart. He reminds me of Quinn Hughes a lot. The way he's reading the play before the play happens. His hockey IQ is through the roof. Here's everyone else's hockey IQ. Here's Lane Hutson. Never mind. Here's Lane Hutson's. It's out of frame. This kid is so smart, and he's just going to get smarter and smarter. But I think Montreal really showed at that game against the Panthers. I was surprised that I thought it would be a bit more chippy than it was.
Yeah, me too.
But I think Montreal was focused on the points more than the chippiness. And
that's what you called for.
Me wrong. I said they needed to do that, but I didn't think they would. I thought a young team like that would be more focused on that. But I think they showed that game that, look, if we can get into the playoffs, we have a chance of taking down the Washington Capitals, which is who they would face if the playoffs started today.
Big weekend. We got 3 and 4 nights starting tomorrow.
Oh, man, you look at Montreal's schedule coming up, right? Like, you got – the thing is, when you say 3 and 4 nights –
yeah, well, these are the important 6 points.
They're all winnable. You got Boston, the Flyers, and the Preds.
Yeah.
Those are 3 very winnable games, where the Rangers – their next 3 are the Devils, Lightning, and then the Flyers, and then the Islanders in a back-to-back situation. This is your real chance to pull away a bit from the Rangers, who did get a big overtime win against the Wild. And we're going to talk about the Wild in a little bit once we get.
We're still 1 game up, right? So 1 game advantage over Rangers.
But I mean, and I look at this Montreal team right now. I think this is the week they could really pull away. You win all 3 of those. And let's say the Rangers only win potentially 1 out of those 3 of their next 3. Then next thing you know, you've really pulled away.
Yeah.
Right. And like when we look at the East, it's really, in my opinion, I don't know. I don't have the most confidence in Columbus. I a part of me would love to see them make it with.
They just scored 8 goals. I guess against the Preds. Never mind.
But it was against the Preds. And you look
at the Avs, Leafs, Sens. Wow.
They got the Avs, Leafs, Sens for their next 3. By the way, their website has a ask a question from a really weird green gremlin looking dude. So just food for thought there. If you're afraid of green gremlins, don't go on the Blue Jackets website. But let's be honest, Blue Jackets, there's a good chance they're going to lose those 3.
Mm-hmm.
They need to win 2 out of 3, but that's going to be tough.
So now we have a 2-horse race: Canadians and Rangers.
But even for the Rangers, I think this is the weekend for Montreal. And we'll talk about games Friday coming up as well. And we're going to go live again on Saturday to get you locked and loaded. But this is the week for Montreal to pull away. Montreal has been too inconsistent down the stretch lately. They need to cut the racket, get back in there, win those 3. Those are 3 very, very winnable games against all non-playoff teams. Boston's the worst team in the East. The Flyers, they've won their last 3. They've been a bit better since Tortorella got booted out, but they are not a good team.
No.
And the Red Wings are also a team that I personally think they're done. So I look at this time for Montreal. This is the time to get it done. Win the 3. Have the Blue Jackets and Rangers not get it done, as the Blue Jackets are 3-6-1 in their last 10. Rangers are 5-4-1. This is your chance, Habs. Get it done. Get her done. # Larry the Cable Guy. Chazzy, how excited are you seeing this schedule coming up as a Habs fan? You just like licking your lips like,
Well, no, because we just lost to the Flyers last week. So in today's day and age of pro sport, focus on the next game. Let's get Thursday night in Boston, and we'll move on from there. So 1 game at a time at this point of view.
But I mean, as a fan, though, do you feel this is their chance to maybe pull away, or are you still cautious?
Oh no, this is an important weekend for sure, because you still got a game in hand. You got 3 and 4. That game in hand, if you can win, now you're 2 points and a game in hand still. So,
like, the East is really starting to the picture's been being painted. The Leafs, I don't think they've pulled away yet on first in the Atlantic. The Lightning are only 3 points behind, with the Panthers only 4. And the Leafs play the Lightning and the Panthers each 1 more time this year. But I feel the Metropolitan is completely settled. Washington first, Carolina second, New Jersey third. Ottawa has clearly got the first wild card spot locked up. All we're waiting to figure out is the last wild card spot in the Atlantic and the East. So the East, this picture is getting clearer and clearer by the day.
So, Jacob, I gotta put you on the spot here. Are you as your Islander fans on the island? Are you counting the Islanders out to this point?
They're 5 points out right now. They have not been playing great. Weirdly enough, their issues have been goaltending, which was something that was always been a strength for them. They do have the Wild Friday, the Caps Sunday, and the Preds Tuesday for their next 3.
Well, that could help.
Those are 2 out of 3 are very winnable.
Yeah.
But I think you're 5 out now, and if Montreal does what I think they can do, the Islanders are done. I mean, they're still going to try. They're going to keep pushing.
Yeah.
But I think the Islanders are done. I hate saying that, but I am officially writing off the New York Islanders from playoff contention in the Jacob Moore Sports Analyst book that doesn't exist.
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's move on to the West, though, because the West, some things are a little more interesting. Surprisingly enough, the Stars are starting to catch the Jets. They're only 4 points behind them with a game in hand for the Central. Wow,
I did not realize
that until I just scrolled down. Wow, okay. This wasn't on my rundown.
Well, with a game in hand.
And the Stars, oh my gosh, they have an easy ride right now. Tonight they get the Preds. Saturday the Pens. Sunday the Minnesota choking Wilds. Tuesday the Canucks. Then they play the Jets on Thursday.
The Blues just overtook. You mentioned it the other night. Watch Mini start to drop.
Yeah.
Mind you, like now it looks like they're going to get that second wild card.
So I don't agree with you on that, but we'll get into
really? No, Calgary's going to run the table.
Oh,
I'm looking at the Stars right now, though, and I think they have a legitimate chance to catch the Winnipeg Jets for first in the Central.
Who?
What do you mean who? I just said who. The
Stars? Wow.
Because I'm looking at the Jets' schedule. You got Vegas and Utah, which Utah's been a team that's been getting some upsets. Then you got the Blues, who have been dominating. Then you have the Stars. They got a tough schedule coming up. Well, the Stars have a bit of a weaker schedule. If they only win 2 out of those and the Stars win 4 going into that game against the Jets, and then they win it, next thing you know, anything can happen. Timothy with the school, the buses are back and running.
But it's funny how it will flip-flop at the top, it'll flip-flop at the bottom. You're playing the same teams, and if you're first or second.
But home ice is a key factor,
No,
right?
but first to second is a huge difference.
Why you get deeper into the playoffs? Yes.
Will get either the Wild or the Blues right now.
Yes.
Versus if you finish second in the Central, you're facing the Avalanche.
That
is a huge difference.
Their division.
That is a huge difference. I think the Avalanche are the best team that's not going to hit 100 points this year. Actually, they probably will hit 100 points now I'm looking at it. But they are
they're in the same division.
Third place team in the NHL.
So you're going to want
Dallas
that.
is going to push like crazy to try to avoid playing them first round. Keep your eye on that. A game in hand, only 4 points behind. We'll talk about the Oilers in a minute because, Chazzy, you think I'm crazy when I say the Flames still have a chance. And I haven't written them off just yet.
Yes.
So they are behind. I will not deny that, okay? But the Minnesota Wild are 4-4-2 in their last 10. 2 straight overtime losses. This team has just looked bad. The Calgary Flames, I feel, are playing better than the Minnesota Wild are right now. And Calgary's got a pretty easy schedule coming up. They got the Ducks tonight. Okay, then they got Vegas on the Saturday. That's a tough one. But then they got the Sharks. Then they got the Ducks again. Then they play the Wild. Don't count this team out yet. If you win 3 of those 4 and the Wild continue to slump.
No, you got to win all 4 of those.
I say 3.
We're not going to beat Vegas.
I think you can lose to Vegas and still potentially make the playoffs. Because the Wild have been terrible lately. And when I say, remember, we looked at this a couple weeks ago. They were only 5 points behind the Jets in coming into 2025.
Yep.
And you look at it, they have the Islanders who are going to be hungry on Friday night. Then they got the Stars, so they'll probably lose against the Stars. Then they have the Sharks. Then they play the Flames and Canucks back-to-back, who both of those teams are going to be desperate. Then they play the Ducks to close it out. I could honestly see the Wild only winning 1 game for the rest of the year. They are playing bad. That game against the Rangers, it was literally no one wanted to win. Both teams were playing terrible.
Ever since Kaprizov's injury, they've just fallen off since.
I'm sick of that excuse. I don't care.
Not when he's your horse.
Okay, when the Leafs lose Austin Matthews, they still found a way to win. The Leafs at one point were down Matthews and Tavares.
Yeah, but they got a couple other guys that are playing.
Yeah, okay, but the Leafs at one point were down Matthews, Tavares, Stolars, and Riley, and managed to win. Managed to continue to stay over 500. I want to just
Mitchell Marner.
That's still just one player. I'm painting you a picture here. Okay, let's go back to the 24th of March. They lose 3-0 to the Stars. 25th of March, 5-1 to the Knights. They beat the Capitals 4-2 on the 27th. Finally, they get a win. Okay, we're going to turn around. Nah, just kidding. We're going to lose 5-2 to the Devils on the 29th. Then we're going to lose 3-2 in a shootout to the Devils on the 31st. Then we're going to lose 5-4 to the Rangers in a which team wants to be the worst team on Wednesday night. I think they're going to lose to the Islanders. I think they're going to lose to the Stars. Yeah, they might get to overtime against the Sharks, but the Shark team has been playing better than their record. I seriously think the Wild are going to collapse and miss the playoffs.
Wow.
Everyone else is saying that the Wild are their pick for a wild card team that's going to be dangerous. I don't think they're going to get there.
Wow.
As much as their website is less scary, there's no scary green emoji, dude. It just says quick ticket help. Have a question. It's not scaring me. The way this team is playing is.
Wow.
Seriously, if you lose to the Islanders and Stars and Sharks going into the Flames, and the Flames beat the Ducks, beat the Sharks, and beat the Ducks again going into the Wild, they have a legitimate chance of doing this. A legitimate chance. I don't think they're going to catch the Blues. I think the Blues are going to keep rolling to close the year. They've won 10 in a row. This team is dominating.
Yeah,
the Wild, they've won a couple games. Even the games they've won, they haven't played well.
Right.
And like when you say, well, they playing Vegas, they might be half asleep at the wheel by then because they've probably clinched the division basically by then.
Right, yeah, for sure.
So Calgary might beat Vegas. They might win those 4. If they can, I think Calgary's got to almost be perfect to close the year, and the Wild have to continue to collapse. But if Calgary can continue to find ways to get points and play well and get the good goaltending, and Kadri can play as well as he's playing, he's one of the best players in the league the last month.
Yeah,
they have a chance.
Mini has to go 3-3 minimum, and they're in.
Think they can?
Possibly, yeah.
But you just said they got Kaprizov.
Sharks, Ducks, and they win one of those 4 tough games.
Yeah, but I don't know if they will. I'm not saying Calgary will make the playoffs, but I'm not saying they won't yet. Because I've been watching the Flames games, they've been playing well. The Wild game was hard to watch.
If they win Friday night, then I'd say Mini's in. They beat the Islanders, they're in.
I don't agree with you. I think they got to do more than just beat the Islanders.
We'll find it on the live show.
I think Mini needs to beat the Islanders and the Sharks.
I think
they got to win both of those games, and then they have to beat. Then they got to at least get. Okay, yeah, they beat the Islanders and the Sharks, and Calgary
loses at least one
to Vegas and either the Sharks or the Ducks. Then I think they're done. I think Calgary's done. The Wild are in. If not, then Calgary's got a legitimate chance to make it. I think what I'm pitching is perfectly plausible.
I think there's a key thing you're kind of missing here. I think when you were saying that we're still kind of debating on who's making what and it's race and interesting, I disagreed with you at first. Now I'm thinking of it. I do agree with you. It's just it's flip-flopped. On the East, we don't know yet who's making the wild card spot. That's the mystery. I think in the West, we already know who's making it. I think the $1 million question is who's getting the division leagues and who's getting home ice. So I think for both up in the air, just in the opposite ends.
See, I'll be honest. I would be shocked if Montreal at this point doesn't make the playoffs because I think they're playing better than the Rangers.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I look at Minnesota and the West and how bad they've been playing, and Calgary has 2 games in hand, and they face them next week. I'm not saying the wild card's locked up in the East. That's not what I'm saying. But if the Rangers, they've won 2 straight off 2 games that the other team didn't seem to want to win either. Like, they've not been playing well. The Rangers look bad. Like the other game they won, okay, they beat the Sharks 6-1. But that's the Sharks who are inconsistent. There are games the Sharks play amazing. There are games the Sharks play terrible. But then they lost to the Kings 3-1 and the Ducks 5-4 in overtime. Wow. And you look at the Rangers, they're very hot and cold. So is Montreal, but I just think the Rangers have a harder schedule down the line here where I think Montreal's got a chance to pull away.
Yeah.
But I want to get into some big games Friday night because we're pushing for time on this segment. Now, if you want to play along with us, make sure you download the Streakers app, jump in the Streakers Island Podcast Sports booth. You will see all this and so much more on the app. And ding, times to get in here. So I want to talk Flames versus Ducks. These are all on Friday night. I'm taking the Flames. Chazzy, Flames or Ducks?
You know, I'll give you the Flames in that one. Let's see if they can desperation hockey here against quack Ducks.
Dan, Flames or Ducks?
I think the Flames are a little too late, but I think the Flames are going to take this game.
And now I have a prop for you guys. Remember, this is an app where you can control your own props, different than any other app in the game. Wow. Kadri, 2 points, yes or no?
Yes.
He's going to have to step up and lead if they're going to beat the Ducks, so yes.
I also said yes, Kadri's on a tear. Now we got the Senators versus the Lightning. I'm taking the Lightning in this game.
Yeah, I'm going to ride that horse with you.
Dan, Lightning or Senators?
I'm taking Senators.
Well, it's 2 versus 1, so you've been eliminated from the voice. Will the Senators get at least 30 shots?
Yes.
No.
I'm going to say no as well. I think the Lightning are going to really chop it down defensively. Now we have the Montreal Canadiens versus the Boston Bruins. Montreal will get this big dub, and they're going to blow them out. Chazzy? Habs or Bruins? Okay, well, yeah.
Habs.
Dan?
Habs.
Okay, so for what I have here, will the Habs get at least 2 power plays?
Montreal will get at least 2 power plays?
Yeah, will Montreal get at least 2 power plays?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
I say yes as well.
Yeah, I wish you guys said no, but boy, think of it, yes.
It's a rivalry.
Yes.
Flash versus Leafs, Oilers versus Sharks. You didn't touch base much on the Oilers in the standings, but the Oilers are sitting
back to the Kings here,
behind the Kings for second in the division.
Wow.
Remember, they want home ice to play the Kings because the Kings have only lost 8 games on home ice, 4 regulation, 4 in overtime. They've been dominant at home. Wow. Will the Oilers get it done versus the Sharks? I am going to say no.
Whoa.
The Sharks are going to upset the Oilers.
Wow.
Pickard's been playing way too much hockey lately, and I think he's going to have an off night.
Wow.
He better not this deep in the season. I'm gonna stick with the Oil.
Dan?
I'll stick with the Oilers too. You got Draisaitl back in the lineup, and he can beat the Sharks just by himself. So,
okay. Will the Oilers score in the first 7 minutes?
First 5 minutes?
7 minutes.
No.
The Oilers score in the first 7 minutes? Yes. Yes.
I'm going to say no. But we need to go to a little thing called a commercial break. But stay where you are. When we come back, we are going to get into the OHL playoffs and so much more.
Come on in! Oh, there's an opportunity knocking right there. All right, Streakers.
More for your money!
Big news! Yeah. We have more for your money joining the Streakers Nation and the team. It takes a village to do something that we want to pull off. We're so excited. So download the latest Streakers app. Watch for the updates. Watch for more happenings. Coming for more for your money. Let's go streaking.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Streakers Island podcast. And when we go to a break, it gives us a chance to recharge. Chazzy had a protein bar. Dan showed me his shirt, but it wasn't under the shirt, thank goodness. And I got to play with that I have had since grade 10 of high school. This thing is probably older than some of our viewers. But
did you take any championships down with that thing?
Hey, I have some rec league MVPs with this, okay? I've also injured 3 people with it.
And you gave yourself a concussion.
But let's get into...
You hit the birdie that hard?
Oh, yeah. But let's get into the OHL playoff race. And, of course, we had to bring back the one and only Bri Pup to talk about this race and a series that he is excited about so far.
Bri Pup here with an update on the OHL playoffs, and the Oshawa Generals offense has been red hot in their series against the Brampton Steelheads, with a win in Game 1 of 7-4 and Game 3 of 7-5. Brampton's game plan is going to have to change if they want to try to stop the red hot offense of Oshawa and tie the series at 2 games apiece. Back to the boys at the Streakers Island podcast.
Thank you very much, Bri Pup. And I'm surprised that Brampton has not been able to slow down Oshawa, really. This Generals offense is just flying. And
you know what I think the key of that is? I think Oshawa likes the number 7.
Do you know? Why number 7, Dan?
Because they scored 7 goals twice, bro. Didn't you watch the video?
I edited the video.
Well, then you should know that.
I wanted to see if you knew it. I was testing you.
Oh, I'm not that stupid, Will.
So, Chazzy, you picked Oshawa as kind of your team that you thought could run away with it. So you're not surprised at all, that the games they've won, they've kind of just dominated?
No. Kobe Barlow stepped up. He had, a hat trick on Game 1? A couple apples in the third game there. They got 1 goal in the second. Seemed the offensive fluttered. And then all of a sudden they just caught fire again. So we'll see what they do in Game 4. But yeah, as I said, they're going to fill the net. Hopefully they contain the goaltending as they get deeper here. So
because Game 4 is tonight, and that's a huge game in that series for Brampton. Like, you feel for Brampton, that's a must win, and I think they got to keep Oshawa under 3 goals. Wow. They need to find a way to sharpen up the defense there because, as Dan said, both games Oshawa's won, they've scored 7. The one game they lost, they only scored 1. When it's a low-scoring affair, Brampton's been able to take control. When it's high-scoring, it's all Oshawa. And I want to state here, what is with some of these game starts? Game 5 on April 4th is at 7:05. This isn't the MLB. Why are you giving me a weird time start? But nevertheless, I do still think Brampton is very much in this series, but they have to win tonight. If they don't win tonight, they are done. But I do want to talk. Sorry, go ahead, Dan.
I was going to say, you called Brampton to be an upset, and I disagree with you. I thought Oshawa had this series in the bag. I agree with Chazzy. I think we're going to win in 5. Like, Oshawa.
No.
Oshawa made so many trades at the deadline. They gave up their future. They really haven't had a huge one since the John Tavares days. They got to get it done here.
If Brampton wins tonight, it's a whole new ball game.
Yeah, but I don't think they're going to.
I think they will. I think they're going to come back again. They're going to win Game 4 and going to make Game 5. That series has got to go 7.
No.
You know what a series, though, that I called also we could see a bit of an upset, and it's been tighter than everyone projected, was Barrie versus Niagara.
Yeah.
Barrie is winning that series 2-1. However, all the games have been close. Game 1, Barrie won 4-2. Game 2, they won 7-5 with Niagara having to bench half their bench.
They almost lost it.
Which was a crazy situation. I don't know if you heard about that, Chazzy. They were a nuisance at a movie theater, and the OHL said all their players had to miss at least 1 period.
Oh, hold on. What?
All the players who were at the movie theater had to miss the first period of that game. So they only had 9 guys for the first period.
That was the punishment.
Yes. I don't know what the hell the OHL was thinking.
In a playoff game.
Talk about favoritism. My gosh. But give Niagara credit. They almost came back and won that game.
Find the team, but to sit guys, I don't know. Maybe that
And
needs
a
to be
playoff
a
game.
1v1 debate.
But
Not game 59 of the season for playoff.
But what I love about Niagara, though, is they fought back in that game, made it close, and then they won 6-4 on Tuesday night at home.
Yeah,
If
the
you
kids are
find a
motivated.
way,
You benched us.
if you find a way tonight to win this game, it becomes a best of 3. And I hate to say it, Barrie could end up epically failing.
Wow.
If Barrie loses this series, you're going to look back and be like, what the hell happened? Because this was a
puppy
team
likes
that-
them, don't they? Doesn't he?
Barrie.
I love Barrie.
I'm from Barrie. Dan's from Barrie. Chazzy, you live near Barrie. Like, we all watched Barrie Bonds at one point in our lives. We're all that old. Like, this
Barrie
is
Bonds.
we expected the Barrie Colts. Everyone thought the Barrie Colts would sweep the Niagara Ice Dogs. And I'm like, I think
I think it's going to be a sweep.
could be. The reason why I said it was Niagara at one point was at the top of their division. And then they just fell apart. But
obviously they went to the movies too many times.
that must have been it.
Where was it? A movie theater in Barrie or in Niagara Falls?
That I'm assuming Barrie, but I have no idea.
Wow!
But I look at this team. If they can find a way to win, they've got to win their games at home and win one on the road.
Wow,
it's doable. If you can win game 4 and then find a way to win game 5 in Barrie, you got a very good chance of winning this series for your Niagara. And if you're Barrie, you better wake up and play well on Thursday.
I gotta say, Vel, people that don't know, Barrie's a tough barn to play in. It might be a small arena, but boy, those fans are passionate and they're loud.
Yes.
And they've been there for a long time, even when arena's been changing names from Massey, Sadwin, that huge rivalry. That's another cool topic to talk about one day. But what?
The Molson Center back in the day.
Yeah, Molson Center, the Sadwin
situation.
Now it's the Sadwin Center because Massey owns the team. So Sadwin bought the building. Huge rivalry of GM dealerships back in the day. But that's another story. But wow, the Barrie barn is a tough barn to play in. They only hold about 3,500 people. 35 to 38, but they sell out practically every game, and it's loud.
Now, I do want to move on to another series. I'm a little surprised we're seeing 3-0, and that's Kingston versus Sudbury. I thought Sudbury had a real shot at this.
Me too.
When they played game 2 and it went to double overtime of Kingston winning, I'm like, okay, Sudbury can come back home, win that game 3. They're right back in the series. They lost game 3 4-2 in their own barn. I think Sudbury's done.
I think Sudbury will win a game here.
I think they'll win game 4. Kingston will win it in 5. The gentleman's sweep.
They might push it to 6. I think Sudbury wants another home game.
I don't think so. As much as these games have been close,
like game 1 flying here.
But Chazzy, what are your thoughts there? Are you kind of? I'm like, do you think Sudbury might be able to push this to 6, or at least win a game, or you think Kingston's just going to get her done?
A sweep. Just like London will take over and sound out sweep.
Yeah, London's kind of dominated Owen.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Which I think that series came down to Carter George can't do everything by himself. And unfortunately for Owen Sound, London's just been lighting the lamp. 6-1 game 1, 6-3 game 2, 7-4 game 3. Owen Sound's going to lose this 1 and 4.
Yeah.
This series is important to Maple Leaf land because of Easton Cowan, because you traded your guys in Fraser Mitten and Grabchuk, who I think were the future bright spots in Maple Leafs. I get it's a right move to trade them, but you're leaving all your eggs on Easton Cowan. If Easton Cowan doesn't win the Memorial Cup this year, it's a fail. Let's just be honest.
Really? Conference finals or bust?
No, not conference finals. League finals.
Memorial
Cup. Not just the OHL finals. Don't forget, Memorial Cup's the hardest one to win because you win the OHL, it's technically winning your division, and no one even cares. Because after you win the OHL league, after you end, you play the Memorial Cup and you play the other leagues in Canada, the WHL and the QHL. The very game was really amazing round robin tournament, and that's why Memorial Cup's the hardest cup to win. And for Maple Leaf fan Easton Cowan, because Easton Cowan was so bad at World Juniors, this is his chance to make it up. And he doesn't win the Memorial Cup and be the best player in the whole country, it's a fail.
So you're telling us right now on Streakers Island, the London Knights are winning it all?
Yes.
I do want to say Stofar Easton Cowan has 3 goals, 5 assists, 8 points, 3 games, and a +5.
Which is fantastic, but it means nothing if he doesn't get it to the W.
What do you mean it means nothing? These are playoff games.
Okay, but he has to make it to the Memorial Cup.
No, he doesn't have to make it.
No, I'm right there, bro.
All right.
Clown book. Dan gets the clown book.
I will say it right now.
Dr. Seuss clown book from Dan to me.
I'll say it right now. Here's what's going to happen. The Barrie Colts are going to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals against Oshawa. Unfortunately, Oshawa are winning 7. Oshawa will face London for the OHL Finals. Oshawa will lose. London will win, make it to the Memorial Cup, and win the whole thing. I just called it here on the island.
Okay, well, Dan, stop trying to do your best Craig Button impression. But we also have the Sioux Greyhounds are down 3-1 against Windsor Spitfires. Sorry, Sioux Greyhound fans, you're done. Saginaw and Erie's a close series at 2-1. Kitchener Rangers and the Flint Firebirds close series 2-1. We're seeing some good first
Kitchener will get it done.
Brantford versus North Bay 3-0. Brantford's going to win it in 4. I don't think North Bay's.
Yeah, I think so too.
That Brantford team is dominant. By the way, did you know tickets to Brantford Bulldogs home playoff games are over $70 a ticket right now?
What? Well, Zach Hyman needs to make his money.
Oh yeah, he's got to make his money.
Wow.
We looked into going. We're like, nope.
No problems.
We need a ways, bro, so we can go to a Brantford Bulldogs game.
He's banking the vault for open borders next year.
But let's move on from the OHL playoffs for now. But obviously, we're going to keep paying attention to that. And remember, the OHL was in the Streakers app.
Yes.
Again, something very different compared to all these other apps out there. You can play in your junior sports. But I want to talk the NFL and specifically the man that you guys love and I dislike with a passion. I'd love to bop him over the head of my badminton racket from the War of 1812. And we're talking Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, I love this guy.
There was
I love him.
People were spreading it on social media on April 1st. Everyone seems to forget April 1st was April Fool's Day. Dan messaged me, Mitch Marner's been signed by Toronto. I'm like, Dan, no, he hasn't. It's April Fool's.
14.
No, I know that. I want to see if you knew that.
I knew. You were not testing me. Get wrecked. Aaron Rodgers is retired. No, he hasn't. He's not retiring. It was a joke. I still think he's going to go to Pittsburgh. I'm
What's the holdup? Like, what is the holdup?
Aaron Rodgers is just being Aaron Rodgers. He likes the attention. 100%. He's like that high school girl who always runs around saying she doesn't like drama, but gets involved in all the drama. Aaron Rodgers is that high school girl.
But is there any other teams in the mix? Or this is it?
Yeah, but where would he go?
Okay, so Pittsburgh or
Miami.
Why would he go to Miami?
Because the weather's nice. And that Kukuwala, or his name is, gets injured every 5. Thank you. He gets injured every 5 seconds.
The only other team I could maybe see him going to just to stir the pot, I could see him going to Dallas.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott has not got the job done the last 2 years. Let's get another guy who's never got the job done before.
Oh, that hurts.
But I don't see where else he goes besides Pittsburgh. I just think he's waiting it out, and he's waiting until he can be the biggest thing on social media.
Yeah. No, but is he waiting for? It can't be money, is it?
Who knows? Maybe he wants $50 million, and when he's not worth it, he's barely worth $50.
Oh my gosh!
What did he do last year that was so great that's worth all this money?
Won 5 games, bro.
Wow, 5 games
on the New York Jets.
The Jets.
Zach Wilson won more the year before.
I had a lot of high hopes for his Jets days.
Yeah, me too.
Well, you guys were
running out of the tunnel first game. Jets fans knowing how young and passionate they are, and then all of a sudden, a ruptured Achilles or tear.
But we'll see what happens with Aaron Rodgers, and of course, we'll stay locked on that news and updates because Dan and Chazzy basically want to have him over for supper.
You can't see him retire yet. He's still got another.
He won't retire.
He'll come to Minnesota.
Like just how naturally he throws the football. Like
Minnesota brought in Russell Wilson.
Can't compare those two.
Wait, who did Minnesota bring in? Was it Russ or are they sticking?
No, they're Wookie.
No, they got McCarthy.
Wilson went to the Giants. Which is not a giant mistake, but I think getting Aaron Rodgers would have been.
And then Fields goes to the Jets.
That's where Fields went.
But isn't this kind of weird? You move your two QBs without signing a star.
Yeah.
Like,
it's odd.
It is very odd.
But I want to move on now to the Toronto Blue Jays. And
okay.
Blue Jay. Remembered to hit the ball. And the Blue Jays swept the Nationals, which, Dan, you were very excited about this.
Woohoo!
Chazzy, you don't seem very excited about it, and I'm kind of in the middle. It's great they got some wins. However, I don't think they scored enough runs considering how many guys they left stranded on base. There's been some bad base running of late, which I don't like to see. We saw a great example of that where the guy went in for home, Ernie Clement. The third base coach was saying, "Stop!" And he just kept running and got out. 2 games ago, there was another one where there was a double playoff, just some really bad base running.
Yeah.
They're not hitting smart. They're doing some things right. Like there was a really nice bunt in the game yesterday. I thought the pitching with Lucas, I thought he played great.
Oh, yeah.
AAA pitcher had a really good outing. I pitched 5 innings, which again, normally I like to see more than 5 out of your starter. But considering the guy's normally a AAA, that's A-okay with me. I thought he looked great. He pitched 5 innings, only allowed 1 hit, 3 strikeouts. I thought he looked great. And I thought the bullpen did a nice job.
Yeah, 100%.
However, I still don't think this is the Blue Jays recipe to success, needing 5 pitchers, get through a game, 1 starter, and 4 guys from the bullpen. I don't think that's your recipe for success.
Is that Vladdy's slow start due to the contract hanging over his head?
Vladdy was a bit better yesterday. 4 at-bats, 1 hit, 1 run.
Springer's hot.
So now we know Dan's in the William Nylander.
Jeez.
So now we know Dan's in the William Nylander, and Chazzy thinks George Springer is hot.
No, I mean as bad as hot. Like I guess he's not using.
No, absolutely though. And you know the guy I've been really impressed with.
He's okay looking.
He's
okay looking.
I've been impressed, and I'm sorry if I pronounce your name wrong, but Gimnez.
Yes, I was going. You took that. I was going to talk about that.
I don't care. You didn't write it down. Get wrecked.
Well, I don't spell his name.
He has been playing very well, making great defensive plays. Actually, the new guys in general have looked pretty good.
That's what I put on the strip, Will. I did say it. You're taking my lines.
I'm sorry, Dan.
That's okay.
Well, so talk about it. Why are you impressed with these guys?
Because I'm not saying they win the World Series, but when I talk about this and during spring training, I say it's key for the Blue Jays to win about 95, 98 games. And in order to do that, they got to win the games in April at the beginning. And 5-2 is a very good start. And that's where we struggled last year. They struggled at the beginning and started winning the games at the end. But the games in the beginning, I think, are easier. And the reason why they're winning the games at the beginning is because of new players like Gimez, 3 home runs. Lucas, your AAA pitcher, basically won you yesterday's game, right? So and the new guy against Baltimore got a home run. I forget his name. I'm very sorry.
Actually, too, I was gonna say another quick new guy, Miles Strauss, looked really solid.
Yeah, he did another one. He went 3 for 4 yesterday at bat, right? So the new players that they got were not the big names off the free agency that the fans wanted. But if these, I'm not saying the superstars, but if these guys can play consistently in the lineup, and then guys like Springer and Brissett and Guerrero get going as your superstars, you got yourself a nice all-around team. And if you can win a bunch of games in April against outside of your division, then the tougher games in your division later in the year, if you can go 500 there, you can probably get close to 90 wins. And I think you need about 95 and 98 to make the playoffs. I really do. I think through the first 3 games between 95 and 98 wins. That's the magic number to make the playoffs in this division.
I think we have a measuring stick series coming up, and it might seem weird to say measuring stick this early, but we talked about it on the show at the beginning of the year that the Blue Jays needed a good start, and we got the Mets coming up.
Yeah, good luck.
And good luck, Charlie.
Yeah, I'm as much as I'm staying positive now, I don't think this is going to be a great outing for the Jays.
The Mets have been very good to start the year. They've been hitting very well. It's coming off a nice series against a quick little 3-game series against the Marylands, where one game they had 10 runs, 4, and then the last one they had 6. However, they're also allowing a decent amount of runs in some of these games. So
True.
They have a record of 4-2. Well, the Jays are 5-2. So in theory, this should be a very comparable matchup.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
I don't want to talk the whole series. Let's just talk about the first game on Friday afternoon at 3:10. What is with baseball times?
So
remember, again, download the Streakers app. The MLB is in there. Also, there's some great updates coming up on that app. We'll let Chazzy share that at another date. But, man, you guys are going to love what's coming up.
Game changing.
Like, put down Tinder and pick up Streakers because it's a lot more fun. But let's talk Jays and Mets. Who's winning the game on Friday afternoon at 3:10 and 2 seconds in one frame?
Mets.
Okay.
Mets.
Chazzy says Mets because he's like, Dan, I don't wait turns. I'm the CEO. Dan, Mets or Jays?
Mets.
I'm going to take Jays for the first one.
Ooh.
I think they'll only win one in this little 3 bet, and I think they're going to.
You think Gosman's going to get it done? Okay.
Yes, sir. Now, you know what I like to do? I like to make some props. Will the Jays get at least 7 hits in this opening game in the series?
Yeah. Not against Turner. No.
Dan?
Yes.
I can tell which one's more positive, which one's negative. I'm saying no. I think they'll get about 5. But will there who's starting on this game?
Hold on. You're thinking the Jays are going to win with 5 hits?
Yes.
Okay, pitcher's duel?
Yes.
Okay.
Who's pitching again for the Jays? Yeah, I know you said, but
Gosman.
Great
right
pitcher.
Now it's Gosman.
Is he going to throw at least 85 pitches?
I think so. I think
he has to.
I think so. I'm going to say yes.
Dan?
Yes.
So remember, those props will be in the Streakers app and so much more. So make sure you download the app. It is a lot of fun. I am projecting the Jays will win this first game of the series. Dan and Chazzy are saying no, but Dan thinks they're going to get 7 hits and lose. I think they're not going to get 7 hits and win. Apparently, the self-proclaimed analyst might have had a little too much of his special drink out of his Argo glass. But we all agree that the pitcher is going to throw at least 85 pitches. Let's move on now to the MLB, more into the MLB. And quickly, I want to talk about these bats. So, Chazzy, you mentioned you were reading something fascinating. What do you have to say about the bats as there's been more coming to light of late?
So as we talked about it the other night, just dropped on us, and we didn't know where these bats come from, but I guess they have been around the league in the minors and such. They've been using them for performance bats. Some say it's come from the cricket, the cricket design in the bat. So anyway, it seems like it's gonna stick. We're seeing a huge amount of home runs early. It's almost like a golf club, right? You hit that solid logo, and I don't know. We'll see what happens, but it looks like it's not going away. It looks like other teams are gonna start ordering them. My question to you guys, though, is how this is just rolled out. The Yankees use it. The Yankees hit a record 8 home runs. Now we're talking about this torpedo bat mainstream. Mind you, they've been talking about it and it's been used, but like now it's a thing in the majors, and all of a sudden.
Okay, Chazzy, I'll answer your question.
No, stop. We're going to go to a break, and when we come back, we are going to discuss the rest of this topic. I'm keeping you on the edge of your seat. And we're going to have a huge debate about, is this the same as taking a little pilly pop or using a little bit of a performance enhancing little thing of
Whoa, I put that
We
in notes.
will
and
be
we go,
right
"Hey, do that."
Wow.
after this break.
Whoa.
The Streakers Island podcast is here, baby. We're talking NHL, CFL, NFL, and of course, those grassroots sports and so much more. Make sure you tune in every Tuesdays and Thursdays. Welcome to the island.
Yeah.
Back, everybody, to the Streakers Island podcast. And for anyone watching, Dan's reaction to my flip, I want to let you guys know that was not in the rundown that I was going to cut that in half and move the rest to the third segment. I think the boys were flummoxed.
Flummoxed.
Caught off guard.
Means caught off guard. Yes.
Oh, thanks, Jazzy. That's why you're the CEO. I'm not. You know what flummox means.
In my mind, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's a pro move.
So let's get into this. And some people are saying this using the bat, it's all good. Other people are comparing it to taking performance-enhancing drugs. And there are some people, not naming any names, Dan and Chazzy, who feel that it's fine if they did this. And the way you guys are talking off camera, you seem fine if they're using performance-enhancing drugs.
No, we did not say that.
Dan did. Dan has it right in the script. He doesn't care about he doesn't care if they have American-sized footballs or not. That they should be using performance-enhancing drugs to go along with the big bats.
Why not? The league wants more hits, okay? You added a piss clock to speed up the game. Ratings have been down the MLB. Attendance has been down the MLB. You want to expand the MLB. So let's make it more exciting. What makes more exciting? More home runs. And does that mean giving up your balls to make the balls over the wall? Let's do it. You know I'm white, Jacob. Put down the book. You know I'm white. And I have the balls to say it on camera.
There's a way to bring innovation into the game, especially the major league level, to have just the New York Yankees, or was it the Yankees were the first team in a regular season game to use it?
Yeah,
because they have used it in exhibition stuff. But in a major league season game when nobody else had access to see this many home runs, now like it's just the way it's unraveling. It just doesn't make sense. Like if we're all on Barry Bonds and them and the way that they hit home runs out, now we have a bat that is it's regulation. It's in the diameter specifications that the league says and everything that actually enhances. I don't know. Does this disrupt, like, are we going to see 80, 90 home runs now?
Yeah.
I don't know if we will, because the pitchers are also just at a level that we haven't seen. These are guys. They're guys
now you put this in the sweetest spot in the bat where majority of the players hit. Now it's going to sail.
Okay, but at the same time, if it's been in AAA for a while, then these young pitchers are also used to pitching against it. You still need the timing and the talent. And Dan, I want to counter your point here. Drugs are very different than improved equipment. That's like saying Alexander Ovechkin is on drugs compared to Wayne Gretzky because he has a stick that has way more technology than the wooden stick back in the 90s.
No, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying they should do it. Put everyone on drugs, so I care. You know, like, why not?
What about the debate about the corked bat back in the day? Guys used to be tossed out for the year for a corked bat.
I'm just going to say it. The only reason why this is so controversial, I was going to add to your comment, Chazzy, before Jacob cut us off with a commercial. The only reason why this is so important, Chazzy, is because it's the Yankees that did it first. And the Yankees is a team everyone hates, and the Yankees get the most attention. Let's say a bloody Arizona Diamondbacks did this, no one would care. Okay, it's because it's the Yankees. It's because it's Aaron Rodgers. let's say the
what did Aaron Rodgers have to do with this?
I mean Aaron Judge. I'm sorry, I got the Aarons mixed up because of Aaron Judge. Okay, but let's say if it was the Chiefs. Okay, let's say if the Chiefs and Mahomes found this great new technology to make the game better, everyone would go blah. But if it's like someone in like wherever, it would be fine. And this is what we're having this conversation, And I say if people want to take drugs to make the game better, then why not?
Then comes a lion who's partly a trout. Then more stuff from the 45 minutes about. Dan, you're being a clown.
No, no.
There's a big difference between drugs and technology. And you're to be honest, do I think it's bad if players want to use this bat? No, because I'm reading, and hear me out. This batting is these bats are worse for strategic hits. So I'm talking about when you're looking for singles and doubles, because the way this bat is designed is to give the ball more air. This is only beneficial if you're a power hitter, and it's also more likely for pop-up flies.
True.
So it's like the flex of a hockey stick, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yes, they put the weight in a different spot. Do I think the MLB should ban these bats?
No.
Not right now, because I think it's up to the players and the teams if they want to use them or not. As long as the technology's there across the board. It's not like when the New England Patriots deflated the balls that gave Tom Brady such a huge advantage because he could get his hand on it easier to yeet it 60 yards.
Yeah,
but isn't this the league telling you almost to do that? Go ahead.
But it's not cheating.
No one knew about this.
And then it's up to everyone if they want to do it or not. It's at a player-by-player personal choice. That's like you saying, Chazzy, every single player in the league should use the exact same hockey stick.
No, but there's a rule that you don't need to. Everybody knows that.
So in the MLB, there's no rule against this bat.
Well, I'm not saying that there needs to be a rule against this bat. There's one way to open up it to the entire league, not
but
just
it is
one.
Open to the entire league. And there's no.
Why did it take so long for the Yankees just to use it?
But there's no, dude. Anyone can go buy this bat.
No, I know, and that's what we're seeing, and they've used it. But so what we're saying is,
it's open to anyone who wants to use it. So I don't really see. I think they're making a mountain out of a molehill. Dan, I think you thinking everyone should be like Barry Bonds is absurd.
But look at how amazing, Jacob. You just said it yourself earlier in this episode. We were all alive during the Barry Bonds era when he was breaking those records. Like, oh, man, I wasn't even a huge sports fan back then. I was not into baseball back then whatsoever. But I remember Barry Bonds breaking that record. That was cool, bro. And if we can bring that back, why not?
Did you say that record was stupendous?
No, anyway. I didn't. It was cool.
We'll see the ERA by the end of the year at mid-season, and we'll see how many arms are thrown because these guys are just going to try and throw harder, trying to get through these bats.
I agree. I think this is a topic we need to revisit in even a month and look at the Yankees' total of runs and total of home runs versus other teams.
Or how many other teams are now using this?
How many more teams are using it and see what it comes down to. But that is the job. But that is the job of a commissioner. And the CFL has finally announced a commissioner. So congratulations, Canadian Football League. You have chosen Stewart Johnston, who has been appointed as the 15th commissioner of the Canadian Football League. He was a leader for the TSN, serving as their president since 2010. He had a very long-term working with the CFL. He was the one that really got those deals done. I actually like this move. Some people say, well, this just means they're going to give TSN an easy TV deal. I actually think it's the opposite. He's going to say, look, I know how much you need this deal.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you look now, Rogers just locked up the NHL for another bunch of years for $12 billion. Not million, billion. Stop telling me TV's dead because it's not. It's still $1 billion industry. And
with them even sponsoring Amazon.
And then you look, but every time Amazon airs a game, Rogers is still making money off it. They own all the rights to it. Same when TSN airs one. So now TSN is desperate, I would say, because TSN wants to get back into the NHL, but they can't. What does TSN have in the summer besides football and tennis? They got some Formula One, but the CFL is their biggest entity for Bell Media in the summer. The CFL averages about 2 million viewers a week.
They have the NFL contract too, though. Why just don't televise NFL games?
Yeah, but they they have to buy those rights off Fox and the NFL Network and all those other things. Dan, it's not as clear cut as it is. They're not the main role for that because they just take the feed. They don't produce the game.
Who, TSN, you mean?
TSN just takes the feed to the NFL. Completely different.
Yeah.
So TSN
you would know better than me.
I actually think this is very good for the CFL, and I think the CFL is going to work very hard on getting a big TV deal done. Yeah. So I bring up the question, what is the commissioner's biggest concern for his new role? I brought in 4 topics, okay? CFL expansion, the TV deal, marketing, and I added a 4th, a CFL video game. I think the CFL video game is really needed. It's not my number 1 pick, but I think it helps a lot with the marketing and potential expansion. My number 1 for me is the TV deal. I think you get the TV deal, continue to build the big numbers, then that helps you expand the league. Then for me, marketing is number 2. Then expansion is 3, because again, I think the TV deal and expansion leads into getting another team. And then last but certainly not least is CFL expansion. I think this is a 4 or 5 year process, but that's the way I have it. Chazzy, do you think I'm out to lunch, or do you kind of see where I'm coming from on my order of like operations for the gentleman?
Oh yeah, no, I definitely see where you're coming from. I agree with you on that marketing it to the Canadian game, the nation. If they do that right, and I think this is a big opportunity for the CFL to market the Canadian game and the Canadian players and the stars that are on each one of these teams. And then, like you said, you get the TV deal, and that runs into everything else with the expansion and such. But yeah, definitely agree with you and see where you're coming from.
And I think the CFL, Chaz, when you mentioned the marketing, this is your biggest chance ever to market as a Canadian game.
Yeah.
Like Dan's so excited about he's eating his name again. And
they should actually go down to some of these universities that are doing these Neil deals now with some of the students and sort of most piggyback up some of those smaller marketing ideas. So,
yeah.
And I think all that can lead to CFO expansion. But Dan, I see you have CFO expansion as your number 1 thing that you think he needs to work on.
Yeah, so I give you respect, Jacob, your order, but basically I did it completely reversed of what you did. I think the expansion is number 1. And I'll tell you why. Tell me why.
Tell me why.
Thank you. There you go.
How many are you expanding first, though? How many teams?
Right now, I think it's key to get at least 1 more team. You need a 10th team so that we can be in double digits. Because that's everyone's joking at CFL. We only have 9 teams. So we need 10. We need to be double digit. The other reason for it is we have too many amazing players. Look how we're saying how we have like Bethel Thompson and Gajardo as backup quarterbacks. The reason why is we don't have enough teams in the league. The other reason, more important reason, is we already had all of this in place a few years ago to have the Spooners in Halifax, to get a 10th team going, and then because of, I'll just say on air, environmental reasons of the time, okay, that we could not get a 10th team going. So we're behind schedule. The Spooners need to happen, and this is also great partnership for the CFL and the Atlantic Coast, because it's not much out the Atlantic Coast because of weather, right? You can't have a hockey team out there during the winter. It's not a baseball team out there because not enough people. So bring the jobs and the marketing and the money out east, because there's no one else taking out all those people. But still, Halifax has over 1 million people in the Halifax area, and there's no sports team there for them to cheer on. Okay, so that's that. And I think with the expansion too, once you get that 10th team in, you're putting a lot more money in the league, and automatically that 10 team is going to turn into a 12-team expansion. I think you should put a team in Quebec City, okay? In Quebec City, because then you have a Montreal rivalry, and then you put a 12-team God knows where. We'll figure that out another day.
London.
Sure, London.
I'm going to say London.
Yeah, okay. So we take it from 10 to 12. Done. The number 2 thing I had in there was, let me check my notes as I
You had the TV deal.
The TV deal.
You talk about the Spooners. Who are the Spooners?
Okay,
Halifax.
so little history lesson. The Atlantic Spooners were the team that were supposed to come to Halifax multiple times, and every time something came up.
They did a whole name in it. This has been approved by the fans
names,
and everybody.
Logos, potential temporary stadiums, and then what happened was the latest one, which again we're not going to say what it was because for anyone who doesn't know, if you mention the C blah 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 on YouTube, your videos can get blocked. So we are not going to say it, but because of the climate of the time, the CFL had to shut down for a year, and that completely shut down the expansion of the league. However, that was a big thing. The big difference, the rumor is between the new commissioners, is that Stewart Johnston wants expansion where Randy Ambrosi was uneasy about expansion. The expansion's a risky decision, but I do agree with you, Dan, it needs to be done. Okay. I know you have TV deal with second, marketing third, video game fourth.
No, let me finish. Let me say why. Don't take my heap, okay? Great Wicks comes great rewards, okay? We decided to go elsewhere and make a podcast, and look at us go, okay? Number 2 is the TV deal. Why? Because the commissioner you hired, with the history of him working for TSN, and the league needs money, and the TV deal leads money. Also, the TV deal leads more people into following the league. The more it's on the air, the more fans you'll get. And that leads to my third one, is marketing. It's like what you said before, Jacob, and Chazzy just said now, with the climate of the times, as we'll say, you have to promote as Canada's game. The other thing I have to say they got to do with marketing, which the Argos does a great job on social media. I don't know how the other teams are going to do it. Maybe just copy the Argos. But I've been lucky enough to be at live games in 3 different stadiums over the league. And hopefully I'll get to more stadiums this year and throughout my life. But one thing I find in common every time I go to each stadium, do you know what the common factor is? Hate to say it, it's the age of the fans. I am one of the youngest fans there. And I'm not exactly young, even though my beautiful blue eyes look like I am. And that's a big problem. It's like the classic car scene, okay? People complain when the kid shows up to a cruise night in a Honda Civic. Well, if he doesn't show up in a Honda Civic, cruise nights are going to die because these guys in their 67 Camaros or their walkers are not getting any younger. So in order to keep the sport younger, you got to bring in younger fans. And that's why I'm talking about marketing. It's not just marketing in general. It's marketing to the white people. You have to market to the younger fans. And that's where I can see a partnership with universities. Maybe it's a partnership with technology like the Streakers app. Who knows? Okay. But you got to get younger fans into the game. And that leads to my 4th point is the video game. I would love to put my first pick as a video game. I would have loved to play Madden with Damon Allen, but we got to be realistic here. Video game involves a lot of money, and yes, it will bring a lot of money to the league, but it also costs a lot of money. So you got to make money by saying all those things that I said in order to come up with a video game. Mic drop. I don't want to drop my mic because I got to set up all nice and neat, but that was a mic drop, bro. Boom.
So, Dan, I get where you're coming from, although I don't agree with you, as you know. And the reason being is I think you need to market and have a better TV deal before you do the expansion. Because I think you need the hype.
The expansion now.
You need the hype to make the expansion work. Attendance has been climbing back up in some cities there wasn't doing so well. People laugh at the Argos attendance. Well, it's improved 3 straight years. Right? We look at BC, their attendance has drastically improved. We look at Montreal, their attendance has drastically improved. Hamilton, I think their attendance will come up again as they have a much better team this year than last. I think Saskatchewan, the belief is getting back in Rider Nation again. Winnipeg sells out almost every game. Ottawa's been getting better attendance as they've been dominating at home. But I think you continue to market and get a better TV deal. because I think, I don't think people realize how big of a property the Canadian Football League is to television. As I said, each game is averaging anywhere from 400 to 700,000 people watching a game. You have 3 to 4 games a week. That's well over 2 million people watching, and that's not including the RDS ratings or through any of the streaming services, right? The Grey Cup will get up over 10 million people at peak for the one game. So I think this is a huge property that the CFL needs to sell properly. You market it properly, you sell that property properly, then you get the expansion. I think expansion's within the next 3 to 5 years.
No, it's got to be now because you have the name, you got the temporary arena, you had all the hype, you got to keep the hype alive.
Dan, there's no owner in Halifax right now, so you can't go there. You need an owner.
Okay, we'll have the league owner for a year.
But there is interest in Quebec City.
Yeah.
So I say you get a team in Quebec City for the next couple of years. The Montreal Alouettes have even talked about moving to a bigger stadium. Like the CFO is starting to do well again. Mm-hmm. So I think you do all these things, and I think the video game and better marketing gets younger people in there. I just think you got to get the TV deal done first, and then everything else sort of falls into place. And I think you got to keep the game pretty much the way it is. I don't want to see them adapting to like NFL kickoffs or even there's been rumors that they should join the UFL league. I don't agree with that either.
No.
UFL gets terrible attendance.
Oh, UFL is a joke.
St. Louis gets crazy attendance, and I also feel with the expansion's got to stay in Canada. I wouldn't go to the States unless
what you have to do with St. Louis.
Unless the UFL closed and you went to St. Louis. Because they're averaging over 30,000 people a game, and I think they do the same for the CFL. They just want football. They miss their Rams. But I want to talk to you guys about the UFL a little bit, and Dan's going to get all grumpy. But they do their extra point system is very different, and I actually like it. So, in the NFL and the CFL, you kick it for 1 point, you go for it at the 2-yard line for 2 points. You guys are aware how that works, correct? Yay.
Yeah.
So the way the UFL does it is very different. There are no kicks for extra points. A 2-yard conversion is worth 1 point. A conversion from the 5-yard line is worth 2 points. From the 10-yard line is worth 3 points. I love this. This is a way for teams to get back into a game where you're down 9. No problem. I can get that with 1 touchdown now. It's interesting. It's exciting. Fans don't like kicking. I think it's great, especially in the UFL. Let's be honest, they don't have a lot of great kickers in the UFL. No offense. But I think that's where I like this. And this is one rule I could see the NFL and potentially the CFL trying out. It's exciting.
I have a question for you, Jacob.
I don't care.
If the kick means no points, do they ever kick it? What would be the point of kicking it?
You never kick for an extra point again.
Right.
So you're only
field
going
goals
for
still count. Field goals are still a thing. You can still kick a field goal for 3 points.
And you still punt the ball. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Why would you punt the ball for an extra point? I don't want it.
No, I'm not saying. I'm just saying for a Rouge, maybe. I don't know. But
the Rouges don't count for extra points, bud.
Well, not UFL, but CFL we do.
Not for an extra point, only for a field goal or a kickoff, not for an extra point.
Okay, whatever. All I'm just saying is it's a thing, right? I don't agree with eliminating kicking. It's called football.
I'm not saying eliminating kicking.
And you have posts in the field for a reason.
Yeah, no. You're misunderstanding me. I'm just saying eliminating it for the extra point.
Well, have it still as a point, and maybe have your thing, as you were saying, worth 4 points instead of 3 points.
So you want an extra point kick worth 1, from the 2-yard worth 2, from the 5-yard worth 3, and from the 10-yard worth 4?
Yes.
That's insane.
No.
But you don't want to eliminate the kick. You want to keep the kick as an option, is what you're saying.
100%.
If you do that, then you do a kick worth 1, from the 2-yard line worth 2, and from the 5-yard line worth 3.
Sure,
or from the 10-yard line worth
I
3.
don't care how you want to do it. I just think kicking should still be an option.
Let us know in the comment section. I'm going to post this as a short. So let us know, what are your thoughts there? Do you like what the UFL is trying to do? Do you think other leagues should adapt it? Or are you in love with feet the way Dan is?
It's like saying you're going to eliminate the 1 3-pointer in basketball.
They have talked about expanding it, making a 4-point line.
No, not that. I'm saying when a player gets fouled, right? They go to the shooting line, and if they dunk it with no one there, it counts as 1 point. That's what I'm saying. It's like you eliminating one kick would be like the NBA eliminating that.
Not at all, but that's okay.
Yes,
what are your thoughts, Chazzy?
I don't know. I'd have to see. I didn't see any of it on the weekend, but I'd have to see it. I'd have to see it. It would have to take a little bit to grow. I'm not sure. I really don't. It's interesting, but it would be interesting what the fans react, and hopefully Shades throws in his comments here on because I know he's a huge football fan. It'd be interesting to see, but I don't mind it. But again, I'm just not sure.
However, I do say I think the football video games, they got to add this in as an option.
Oh, I'll be interested.
I think it'd be fun in the gaming world to eliminate kicking in the game, because kicking in the game's not the most exciting thing to do in a video game.
Yeah.
Although in the new college football, I don't know if you guys have played it. It's so hard to kick a field goal in that game. I'm terrible. I'll literally miss like 20-yard field goals. But unfortunately, our time is coming to an end. We're not dying, just the show's almost over. So before we go, Mr. More for Your Money has his island mindset, which, Dan, I'm even going to put some music in for your island mindset today.
Oh, wow.
So tell me, what is your island mindset for today to the beautiful music?
Well, Jacob already kind of slipped it in the very first segment, but hopefully everyone was refilling their coffee at that point, or maybe finishing their poo-poo if they didn't hear it. So I can say my point. Jacob and I are dressed the way we're dressed for a very specific reason. And that's because on Wednesday, it was Autism Awareness Day. And, Chazzy's got a blue pen. Good job. So blue is the autism color, okay? And it's Thursday, but when we started recording, it was Wednesday. It's 1 a.m. Thursday now, but we started Wednesday around 11:30. So we were wearing blue, okay? And the point is to talk about autism and support autism, because Jacob and I are only 5 years apart. You know, I'll blow it on air now. Everyone thinks I'm the younger one, but I am actually the older one. Wow, shocker. You know, my beautiful blue eyes say I'm younger. I'm actually older. And even though we're 5 years apart, we had totally, completely different scenarios growing up in school. Back when I was in school, in elementary school, we'll say, people didn't talk about people with disabilities and kind of hide them in the corner and stuff, versus when Jacob was in school, people talked about people with disabilities. There was more inclusion in the school world, and now we're getting better and better every day. We still have a lot to work on, and that's why people like me are talking about it. And the thing with autism, it used to be a stereotype that everyone with autism did not speak and banged their heads against the walls and did things like that. But autism is a very wide spectrum. It's like a wide umbrella, okay? And there's all different types. So you can't stereotype autism and say, oh, that person is autistic and that person isn't autistic. We're a very high-functioning autistic people, and they're brilliant. Yeah, they focus on one area, but they are super geniuses in that one area, and they can do amazing things. And we don't talk about it, but a lot of these amazing people with this almost talent are sports fans. They're super, super sports fans. They know so much about their one thing, and sometimes that one thing is sports, and they're incredible at it. And they're just great, amazing people. Yeah, they might be a little different to get to know, but take the time to get to know them, because they will make a difference in your life. So that's why we're walking blue, and that's why you should support the autistic community.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Dan, but we got to go. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining the Streakers Island podcast. Looking for more Streakers Island content? Follow us on social medias, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and we will be starting a Twitch very soon. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you download the Streakers app today. We will see you Saturday when we are live on YouTube and Instagram for sure. Thank you very much.
Never live one. Wow.
We will see you Saturday.
Bye-bye.